What's up everybody, Gen X Dividend Investor here. In this valuable video I tell you how you can invest your way to financial freedom and early retirement, sharing how I did and why I'm confident that you can as well. And a quick side note, about a month ago I ran a poll on the community tab of my channel asking if you guys preferred the faster speed I was talking at in my latest video, and about 2/3 of you voted yes. For reference, my normal speech cadence is naturally faster when I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, like I am about dividend stock investing. But if you prefer a slower speed, then all you gotta do is click on the settings gear icon, hit playback speed, and then pick whatever speed you like. I try to accommodate what the majority of you guys want, and I apologize if you prefer a different speed. Okay, I felt that today's video is a good one for the new year, as that's a perfect time to set goals and to change the direction of your life. Like, no matter if you have a big goal of making $100,000 a year in dividends, or a smaller goal like learning a foreign language, the key point is to make a plan and then just do it, like Nike says. I actually decided last week when I was on vacation that I'm going to start spending some time learning French, because my wife and I thought it'd be fun to someday live in southern France, since it's our favorite vacation spot. I took French for a few years while I was in school, but that was multiple decades ago, so I'm obviously a bit rusty. We've also thought about moving to much cheaper cost of living places like Panama, Costa Rica, or Thailand, or Vietnam, but Europe is currently our top choice. Right now my wife wants to wait a few more years before our kids get further along in school before seriously considering moving somewhere. And what makes moving even possible is because I've been investing for about 30 years and have grown my portfolio to the point that it cash flows us around $125,000 a year of passive dividend income, coming mostly from blue chip dividend stocks. So given all that, I decided to download a free language learning app called Duolingo, and I've started practicing French at night before I hit the sack. My plan is to try Duolingo out for a while and then potentially use some other apps, along with we'll check what YouTube has on it, and I'll probably watch some subtitled movies and blah blah blah, but the key takeaway is to plan your future out and then drive towards it, using your plan as a guide. And part of your plan should probably include investing in blue chip stocks, as I believe that's an awesome way for people to improve their long-term financial outlook. Most people in the world focus on getting a job, but they don't focus on investing. Like, according to a 2022 report by the World Bank, the global average for stock market ownership by adults is only 23%. In mature economies like the US, about 50% of the adult populations own stocks, whereas in less mature economies the percentage drops quickly. What you gotta realize is that if you don't get your money working for you, then you'll always be working for money. Trading your time for money is normal, and spending your money on stuff is also normal, but taking some of your money and investing it is what only a minority of folks do, and they're setting themselves up for a better future. I desperately want everyone to understand the power of investing, and I want everyone to understand how it's often a get-rich-slow path, one that you want to commit to for the rest of your life, especially when the markets look crappy. I personally value dividends so much because the power of true passive income flowing into my accounts without me doing anything just gets better the older I get. I was thinking about dividends recently when I was talking to my dad, who's in his 80s, as I could see how he would benefit from dividend income. Instead, he gets most of his income from a small business he's had for decades, one which can be stressful and requires him to trade some of his time for money. Unfortunately, at his current age, I see him making more mistakes. He's forgetful, his writing and communication can be confusing at times, and while he's got remarried to a much younger lady who is taking care of him, she's unfortunately clueless about business. Now, he does get a small amount of Social Security, but without his business income, I don't think he could get by. I've talked to him about blue chip dividend stocks for years, but he hates the stock market, and I can understand his trepidation. I mean, stocks and dividends aren't guaranteed. Like a few months ago, I talked about how there's a concern that Walgreens Boots Alliance dividend was in jeopardy, and then this morning I woke up to an article saying that Walgreens' new CEO just cut their dividend by 48% to 25 cents a share. Apparently the CEO was under pressure to bolster their results, and cutting the dividend is a big move for a dividend aristocrat that has been known for generous dividends and that has paid them for so many years. Look, nothing in life is guaranteed, and definitely nothing in investing is, so that's why I personally hold a diversified basket of 28 dividend tickers, including multiple ETFs. That way, if one of my tickers cuts its dividend, then I'd be impacted, but it wouldn't break me. Dividend cuts are one reason why I think it's more prudent to own broad market ETFs rather than individual stocks for most people out there. And regardless if you prefer single stocks or ETFs or both, just know that each dollar you invest is probably pushing you closer to earlier retirement. Yes, you may have some setbacks in the market now and then, but if you just don't quit and you invest in reasonable stuff, then I'd wager you'll do quite well over the long run. I require my kids to invest 50% of any money they get to go into their portfolios. They have me to show them the power of investing, but many people don't have someone like that in their lives. I got lucky in that at my first job out of college, one of the older guys on the team urged me to invest in the company's 401k, and I'm so grateful he did. It was definitely one of my defining moments in my financial life. At the time, I had no idea what a 401k even was, and back then companies didn't push their 401ks like they do these days. Occasionally people are confused at how I built my retirement IRA to over $1 million since you can only contribute so much each year, and the answer is that my small contributions over a long period of time compounded into what you see today. Feel free to watch a video I recently did called $2 Million Plus Portfolio, New Daily, Weekly, Monthly, Yearly Dividend Records, where I show you my dividend portfolio in fidelity. That being said, you've got to understand that sometimes my accounts went down or sideways for years, but overall in the long run it trended up. A key point for me was starting early and then sticking with it. I unfortunately don't have stats on how much I contributed to my retirement accounts over the years, nor did I track how much various companies I worked for matched, but it was never anything out of the ordinary. Whenever I left jobs, I'd roll my 401k into my self-directed IRA, and I'd sell out of whatever funds they had me in, and I'd invest my retirement cash into the tickers I wanted. I fortunately never had to liquidate my retirement accounts due to needing the money in life, though some people may have to deal with that happening. But don't give in to the temptation of selling out of your retirement account so that you can splurge on a better car or on a vacation or something like that. Try to hold the line on not touching your retirement funds until you're near retirement. Beyond my retirement account, I also invested in a taxable account when I could, and over 3 decades I also managed to build that up to over $1 million as well. Usually I just invested small amounts of cash into my taxable as I came into it, though if I had larger amounts from work, bonuses, or from selling a house I was living in, then I'd usually dump that money into the market as well. Sure, I could have chosen to take those profits and boost my lifestyle instead of investing it, and I usually did take a small percentage of it and spend it, but my focus was primarily on investing, and I recommend you do the same. Don't make the common mistake of continually elevating your lifestyle as you make more money, or at least not elevating it too much. I'm not saying live like a homeless person, but know that each dollar you invest is pushing you closer to the point where you can achieve financial freedom from needing to work. Another positive aspect of dividends flowing in is that they can start providing you some passive income in case something happens with your job. Of course, you could always sell shares instead of just relying on dividends, but the big point is to invest. Part of my fallback plan for needing a lot of cash, beyond what I have in an emergency fund, is knowing that I could always sell shares if I needed to. If you do go with dividend stocks, then also try to reinvest your dividends, and always be aware of any possible tax consequences you may be facing. I've always found that getting some passive dividend cash flow is incredible, not just financially, but also mentally. And just like dividends aren't guaranteed, nor is your job. So it's important that you always understand the money you have flowing in, as well as the money you have flowing out as expenses. I recommend people go through an exercise to document where their money has been spent in the last 12 months and then analyze it. Don't worry about being perfect, just get it roughly accurate. Once you have a sense of where your spend is going, then you can start looking for opportunities to potentially live more frugally. Like maybe you can find cheaper insurance with similar coverage. And be wary of big purchases you can avoid. Like instead of getting that nice BMW or Mercedes, just stick with the cheap, safe car. And of course, pay off your credit cards in full each month. If you are carrying a balance and end up paying interest on it, then focus on paying that thing off ASAP, and in the future don't make the mistake of putting stuff on a credit card that you can't immediately pay off. Also make sure to stay on top of all your expenses so you can quickly catch any fraudulent stuff or mistakes that might happen. Over the years, I found it helpful to try to find ways to automate my savings and investing, which is why I've always loved how 401ks deduct from your paycheck automatically. That way you're forced to invest as well as you're forced to live within whatever's left in your paycheck. And then once your paycheck comes in, you should try to take a percentage of it for additional savings and/or investing. Definitely prioritize investing over wasteful spending. Now, there may be times in your life where you're being super frugal, but you still don't have enough to invest. That can happen sometimes, and you just gotta do your best. Perhaps look for opportunities to raise your income, whether that's in your job and or from side hustles, which also means you should be planning your career. Are you going above and beyond to keep moving up, if that's what you want? Is your job getting AI'd out of existence? Should you pivot in another direction? Sometimes you might be planning intelligently and making all the right moves, and things can still go wrong, so you deal with it. There's a great quote that goes, "He who blames others has a long way to go on his journey. He who blames himself is halfway there. He who blames no one has arrived." My point in sharing that is to reinforce that you should do the best you can and try not to beat yourself up with whatever happens. Push to invest, and it's okay if your progress isn't where you'd like it to be. And definitely keep focused on expanding your financial literacy, as that will give you a huge advantage relative to most people out there. I mean, how many folks are actually watching YouTube videos about investing? Plus, be smart about your diet and exercise, because you want to enjoy life as long as possible. And trust me, things get really amazing when your dividends are paying your bills rather than your time is. Most people work between 40 to 50 years in their life, but the more you push for investing, the shorter you'll have to work for. Ideally, get to a spot where you choose to work because you want to, not because you need to. Just keep investing and stay smart. Your stocks will sometimes go down, but don't stress about it. Like Buffett said, the point is to buy something you like at a price you like and then hold it for 20 years. I think Buffett also said that you should show me your support by hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing if you haven't yet, and clicking that bell notification. Now, I'd normally close things off with a shout out to my newest Patreon aristocrats and kings, but I'm still all sold out. So instead, I'd like to thank Seeking Alpha, who sponsors me. Consider using my Seeking Alpha affiliate link in the description of this video, as using it often comes with benefits for new member signups. I pitch Seeking Alpha because I value their articles and associated comment sections so much, to the point that I'd literally never buy or sell a stock without first checking what Alpha had on it. And as always, I highly recommend that you join my free Dividend Discord chat server, which has over 11,000 dividend investors on it from 76 countries around the world. Thanks for watching, stay positive, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor and my videos are for entertainment and inspirational purposes only. Investing of any kind involves risk. I'm only sharing my opinions with no guarantee of gains or losses on investments.